So, hi Tony, welcome to our daily interview. First of all, congratulations on receiving two UIA 2030 awards this year. Starting with your Meishe River Restoration project that is awarded in the SDG 6 category, focusing on water and sanitation. To begin with, could you introduce yourself and tell us more about the team behind the project and maybe the broader mission of the Turenscape?
Yeah, so I am Hongjin. You can call me Tony. I'm the son of the late Professor Hongjin Yu. So my father passed away last year in Brazil when he was there doing a documentary about wetlands. So the team behind the project is my company Turenscape, and our focus is on using nature-based solutions to solve a lot of the problems that traditionally were solved by great infrastructure. So the problem with the great infrastructure is a lot of it is very fragile. It's not very resilient, and also very sometimes it solves a problem, but very often when you have great infrastructure and you have floods or droughts, and it exceeds the capacity that humans have designed, then the system breaks down, right? So Turenscape, we use nature-based solutions. So what we like to do is we let nature do most of the work. And so this way the projects are cheaper, they're more resilient, and you could say that nothing can go wrong because anything that does happen is part of nature. So when there's a flood, we don't fight the flood. We give enough room for the flood. We give rivers room so that the rivers, because rivers are dynamic systems, and they do not like to be constrained. And so these are some of the key philosophies that Turenscape has always used.
So the Meishe River was considered the mother river of Haikou at one point. So what was your first impression of the site, and what did you identify as the project's most urgent challenge?
Yes, so the Meishe River, there's a lot of people. It's a urban area, and it used to be a clear river, but because of urban development, you had a lot of water pollution, and there were a lot of dead fish in the river, and the river became very stinky. And so the citizens, they wanted the river to become clean, right? So they complained to the government, and the government spent a lot of money every year to try to clean the river, to try to use the traditional solutions to reinforce the river with more pipes, more concrete, and it didn't work. So eventually they came to us because they saw that we were experts at projects of using, instead of trying to fix the problem with man-made solutions, we were experts in using nature to help restore the river. So before, it was a river that the water was stinky. It was full of dead fish, and people avoided it. And after the restoration, it became not just a place for biodiversity, where a lot of the wildlife was attracted back to the place, also the plants, and it became a place for people for recreation and also for education. So teaching people how to live with water, live with nature.
Yeah, so you mentioned that the people living there, their complaints was also lead to the restoration of the river as well. So also the project's restoration required collaboration between architects, engineers, ecologists, and public authorities. So how did these interdisciplinary works and the conversations shape the final outcome of the project?
Yes, so at Turenscape, we have all sorts of different expertise. We have the landscape architects, we have the engineers, and we have our relationships with the government and our relationships with the citizens, and we try to have systems thinking so that the needs and requirements of all these parties are met. We have at our core, we have our landscape architects, and these are because very often when you see projects like this, the engineers are the leads, and engineers are very good at focusing on narrow problems, right? They like to use if there's a problem A and a B, and they like to put a very straight pipe between these two things. But what rivers are not simple engineering systems. Simple engineering solutions do not work well on rivers. So our landscape architects, they like to use systems thinking, and so we don't discard all of the gray infrastructure, but we like to use the gray and the green to work together. And there's different parts where the gray works better, different parts where we allow nature to filter the water, to do what nature does best.
Mm-hmm. And so one of the key strategies behind the project is the development of a green sponge that we also heard from your father, as well as a green sponge. So these infrastructures, could you tell us more about how this system works in this kind of projects?
Yes. So the idea of sponge city is something that my father he coined the term, and mm-hmm. it's a very easy to understand. So if you think about a sponge absorbs water. So instead of when there's a flood, when water comes, when it rains, instead of trying to get rid of the water as fast as possible, we have places where we allow the water to collect. And there's multiple benefits for this. One is perhaps next year, instead of a flood, you have a drought. So now you have a reservoir of water that you can use. It also serves as a wetland so that it attracts wildlife, it attracts biodiversity. And at the same time, when you slow down the flow of water and you allow this water to be instead of it flowing in pipes, instead of it flowing in concrete rivers, you let it meander, and you let the plants absorb nutrients. So at the same time, the water is being filtered, it's being cleaned, and also it is replenishing the underwater groundwater supply. So the idea of sponge city, he coined the term, but really this is how the water cycle has worked forever. And it's only because of humans, of our hubris, right? So I'm an engineer. I like to think as an engineer. I like to think that I can solve all the problems with my hands, but very often true wisdom comes from knowing when to let go and let nature do its work.
Yeah. Another major theme in the jury's citation was the replicability. What aspects of the Meishe River project do you believe can realistically adapt it to other cities as well? And what lessons from the project do you think that are most relevant globally, actually?
Yes. One thing about China is we're actually almost all of China's east coast is monsoon season. And what that means is when it rains very heavily, but most of the year it doesn't rain that much. And so when we build infrastructure, if you use gray infrastructure, if you use pipes, you need to target when the rainfall is the heaviest. So then you end up with a lot of cost, right? So you're building for the edge cases, and it's very cost ineffective. And so one thing that is recommendable about our project is, instead of using gray infrastructure, we're using the green infrastructure. And so this way, it's very cost effective. And also, almost all of our projects, we are in a close collaboration with universities, and they do monitoring on how the water, the purity of the water, if it's clean, if it's dirty, the nutrients, the pollution in the water. and also the biodiversity. All of this we are in collaboration with universities, and these projects, they monitor it, and so they publish their results, and this helps move projects like this forward in the future.
Great. So my final question for this project is, why do you think a project like this are important within the broader framework of UN's SDGs?
Yes, so this is very because China, we went through a phase of rapid development, and back then the only metric that we cared about was the GDP, was if you're making money, and we destroyed a lot of habitats, we destroyed the environment, a lot of animals were endangered, and also not just nature was destroyed, but also humans living in concrete cities is also not healthy for humans. So projects like this are very good for society, and so it goes beyond just simple GDP, because of course people want to make money in order to be happy, but people also need to be part of nature to be happy. So when people walk in the parks, and when they see birds, when they hear the sound of birds, they hear the sound of insects, that is something that I would say is a need, a psychological need for humans, and that's something that I think it's not just simple metrics. It's something that you feel, and it's something in our DNA. It's about the mountains, the water, nature, trees, the wind, the insects, and also the smells. So instead of because I'm imagining that you will be playing images and videos of the park before and after, but really that doesn't capture the full picture, because before and after, the smells are so different. It used to be stinky, and now it's the smell of nature, of earth.
I can imagine. So yeah, this was all my questions for this project. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.